What's going on, filmmakers? I hope you're doing absolutely amazing, because I myself am doing absolutely crazy. Me and my wife just had a baby and it's already 2 weeks with the new guy, and it's absolutely insane how much a little human being can change your life, your mood, and so on. And I really wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like we're very close here on YouTube. The community that I have here is very tight, and I feel like we get along, and you guys really are gonna be happy for me in this stage of my life. Now, it is kind of crazy to take care of a newborn. It feels like one of the hardest jobs in the world, although very, very enjoyable. Of course, I would still need a little bit more sleep, but if you're a filmmaker, you are used to not sleeping that much, so we're good at that department. Now, the reason I'm making this video is to go a little bit more in depth on one of my biggest projects that I did this year, and that is filming a feature film for Netflix. Now, in my past videos, I talked a little bit about why I decided to shoot this in 8K and why I decided to shoot it on the Ronin for the 8K and Sony Burano. But today I want to get a little bit more in depth and talk a little bit more on one of the scenes that we shot. Of course, I'm gonna do this type of videos from now on quite a lot, but I want to talk a little bit about a scene that I'm allowed to share that doesn't really make spoilers on the movie, because the movie is not launched yet. So we got access to me talking a little bit about a scene that was very, very interesting, and I'm gonna tell you why. By the way, I hope you like the new office and the new view here. The room is pretty big and I need to treat it better in terms of acoustics, but we're gonna get there. Now, why I feel like this scene is so special to me, it is because this was my second day of shooting this film. I knew the location and I knew how hard it was to light. Now, I don't know why the producers wanted to shoot this on our second day of shooting, because I kind of wanted to have a little bit of time to get used to the crew, get used to the team, get used to how we work together. But no, they say hardest stuff is gonna go in the first days, so we can be more chill in the last days. But it wasn't like that. It was harder and harder because we were very motivated to make our best work, and that's why I think it was harder and harder. But this was our second day, and this was one of the hardest scenes that we did. And I'm gonna go through all of the behind the scenes and let you know why. So as you can see, we shot these scenes that you're looking at right now in an abandoned building. It was quite hard to light and to rig, and as you can see, the shots look really good in terms of lighting. I really like the mood. I really like how the colors look. And I think we did a really good job in terms of cinematography with this one, especially for the time that we had. So basically we had only, let's say, 5 or 6 hours to film this whole scene. And as you look at the shots, you can see that we have a little bit of natural light coming in, and that was what I was most afraid of, because whenever you shoot a film, consistency lighting is very important, and I knew that I have to be very fast in order to not lose the lighting that I had when I started to film this scene. So what I did in terms of, let's say, efficiency and lighting, we're gonna get to lighting in a bit. In terms of efficiency, what I tried to do is film 5 one-take shots with the scene and have different kind of angles in the scene and use them differently at the editing stage in order to have multiple angles and in order to be as efficient as I can. And as you look at the scene, we have tons of actors and extras, and it was quite hard to nail the shot one take every time. But because we did a lot of the cuts, and because the film has a lot of cuts in the actual, let's say, edit, it was a little bit easier to cut and not have consistency issues or other things like that. Now, If you look at the scene, it looks pretty natural. The lighting looks quite natural. You don't really feel that the lighting is put there, which is something that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to have a natural feel to it, so you don't really notice the lighting. Although we have a lot of lights, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about how we lit this because it's quite crazy. So if you look, we have a really strong backlight, we have a really strong light that comes in, but because we have this huge boxes that the people get out of, they were in the shadow, so we had to complement that. And I'm gonna start with the beginning and how I created the scene and how I went on it. This is how the location looked when we got there. As you can see, there's we were getting ready, tons of crew. Like I say, we're talking about a film, there's a lot of crew involved. While everyone was like the makeup and everyone was dealing with their stuff, I was talking with the grip guys and I was telling them where I want my lights to be put, and so they know exactly what to do. And while they were assembling my lights and putting my lights, I was making sure my cameras work, I was making sure that my settings were correct. And like I said, this was our second day of shooting, so I was like super stressed. I was like so nervous because it was a really hard scene, and we shot 2 scenes like this in one day. So I'm gonna get to that scene a little bit later because that one has a lot of spoilers and I cannot show that, but 2 really difficult scenes in one day, oh my god. Now, one thing that I did that I'm really proud of, so a few years ago I shot a campaign about a perfume, and when I shot that, I said, what if I wet the floors? Because I've seen that in a lot of commercials, a lot of different kind of productions, they wet the floor so you get more contrast. So I did that and it looked much better. And here's the commercial that I did that first time, which was shot with the Zcam E2F6, and I'm still blown away on how good this turned out and how good it looks. And like if you look at the footage, we wet the floors. And I remember I did that, so I talked with the producer and I said, we need to wet the floor ASAP. And they were like, oh my god, how are we gonna do this? So we had like 1 hour cut off from our time schedule just to wet the floors, but it was worth it. It was worth it 100%, and I really feel like it helped our image look better, have more contrast, and look more dramatic, which was something that we really wanted to do. And if you look, everyone is barefoot, and it looks, I don't know, it looks chilly, like walking barefoot on a wet ground and all that. So I'm really proud on how this turned out. Now, one thing that I want to mention is we were laughing. We were getting ready 2 cameras, like you saw at the beginning. We were using the Sony Burano and the Ronin 4D, and we ended up using only the Ronin 4D because it allowed us to work super fast, and it allows us to move faster in terms of production and in terms of autofocus and so on. So heads up, one of the best cameras I ever used in a film scenario. I'm really happy with it, and if you look at the shots, they are extremely stable. You don't even need a slider or a dolly track anymore. This camera is nuts when it comes to how stable it is. Now, here is the behind the scenes on how I was filming. As you can see, I got stumbled. Like if you look at my feet, I stumbled a little bit on that track, and the footage still looked super smooth. So that's why I love this camera so much. Now, in terms of communications and all that, we used obviously DJI transmission system, which so far has been one of the best transmission systems I ever used. I didn't have the complete setup on the Ronin 4D here. I didn't have the backplate with the transmission system, so that's why I used it separately. But for the rest of the film, I ordered it and I put it on my camera, and it was much better. Here you can see the director giving instructions, listening to the sound, looking at the footage. It was my first time ever working with this director, so it was stressful because I didn't know exactly how we're gonna collaborate, but it was a really good collaborations. He was the type of guy who was talking a lot with the actors, doing his thing, and I was doing my thing, and everyone was doing their thing at the best. And this is why I love this so much, because our director, Yura, was saying, you are on cinematography department, you do your thing, I just wanna get this emotion out of the scene, you do your best. And that was amazing. I didn't have constraints, I didn't have stupid orders to say, no, I want this, I want that. So it was amazing from a creative standpoint. I was really happy. It was so good to work first time. I mean, I worked with different directors many times, but this time was so relaxing to work with this guy, because we, like you saw, we had tons of extra people, we had a lot of actors, a lot of crew members, and usually when I film and I do my projects, I'm kind of like a one-man band, and I get a lot of stress for making people wait me until I make a setting on my camera, or making people wait me until I put my lights and all that stuff. And I didn't feel like this working on this production. I actually felt like I had enough time, not necessarily enough, but enough in terms of like not to get stressed and still be creative. So yeah, we have a lot of behind the scenes, and I didn't talk a little bit about lighting. So in terms of lighting, what we did, I had a huge top light, which is not visible in any of the shots. I had a huge top light that was lighting our actors and their movement and everything, and we had a few side lights and a little bit of backlight. I'm gonna talk a little bit on this shot. So here I had a little bit of top light, which was making light over here, and I had two side lights from this side, which were mimicking the actual sun, but they were coming from the two big dumpsters, so we can have light. You can see a little bit of light here, here, and here. But yeah, I was super happy on how this turned out. The top light really made a difference. By lighting this way, I had a lot of freedom in terms of camera movement, so I wasn't seeing let's say a lot of the lights. Although I have a few lights that are visible in the shots, a few pavo tubes, which I placed inside the dumpsters, or whatever you want to call them. But those ones aren't that bad if you see them in the shot, because you might think it's the light from the dumpster, or it might be a practical light. Now I want to talk a little bit about color, because it played a major role. If you look at the behind the scenes, and if you look at how the colors look in the movie, you can see quite a big difference in terms of how it looks. And I really feel like there's a really big difference whenever I film with the Sony camera and whenever I film with the Ronin 4D, in terms of how the color wraps around our subject, the skin, and all that. So with the Ronin 4D, I used my LUTs to color grade this, but I want to tell you a little bit about something that I think it's totally revolutionary. So I normally promote my own LUTs, and I have a lot of success with them, and a lot of people love them, but today I'm gonna promote somebody else's LUTs because I think they did an amazing job. So as you know, Artlist is one of the biggest platforms for content creators on the internet right now. They have stock footage, sound effects, music, and a lot of different useful stuff like the AI voiceovers and templates and plugins and so much more. This is kind of crazy. But now they introduced LUTs. And I was like, what? This was the thing that was missing from the platform. And the way they introduced it is really amazing. Now check this out. You have like 7 shots or something like that. And each shot, you go on it and you have this slide feature that allows you to see how it looks before and after. So that is really amazing. You can play with your LUTs and see exactly the one that you want to go for. You also have a few skin tones here, so you can see exactly how the LUTs perform on skin and all that. So looks pretty cool. although it lags a little bit in terms of how it works, maybe because of the screen recording, but I really love the slider bar. I'm gonna download a few of these LUTs and I'm gonna try to use them on my footage and see exactly how they look. Now, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. All right, so as you can see, I'm gonna show you exactly how the footage looks right now without any LUTs. I'm gonna use this one because I think it has a lot of colors and it looks quite cool. So as you can see, this is with my own LUTs, and this is how it looks without anything. So normally I would apply the DJI conversion LUT over this and then add color. So let's play with the Artlist LUT right now. So this is Atlantic, this is Chaos, which looks pretty cool. I kind of like it. It works with the type of footage that we had. This is Destiny. I think it looks pretty cool as well. And this is Grim, and we have a lot of different ones. Artlist really offers a lot of different LUTs. There are a ton of them, so you can download the ones that you love the most. So I'm really curious what you think about Artlist LUTs. Let me know if you have the chance to use them or if you try them out, because I think they're really worth a try. As you saw, they are pretty much plug and play. You just put them over your footage and it looks amazing. So I'm highly impressed with this one. Now, getting back to our film, I cannot wait to talk a little bit more about it and show you guys more about this film, because we have a lot of crazy shots that we filmed and we have behind the scenes with it. And yeah, I think there's a lot of learning that you can make out of this, and I can't wait to talk more about it. But until then, I'm Alexandru, and thanks a lot for watching. Peace.